I took odd jobs, I took programming projects, I took like short contracts, but I supplemented myself just with my own work. And I never asked somebody for money. Well, I tried to get money from an investor. They said no. But my experience trying to raise money from investors was very limited, very short. I mostly focused on growing my businesses. That's what I really recommend for you. I think the whole VC stuff, investment before, it's overrated in my feeling. And all the time that you spend contacting investors and all those people is exactly not the time that you spend actually working in your business. So I just preferred working in my business and getting that going. Now, I worked on a B2B search software. I mentioned it elsewhere in the course. That totally failed because it had a really brutal, difficult sales cycle, which I had no idea how to sell it. And not to mention, it was really hard to know how to build. And then I did something easier. I built a group hiking website, kind of like Meetup for hiking. But it was hard to promote because everybody was like, well, why don't we just use Meetup? And I was like, well, it's because it's cheaper and free. And people are like, well, Meetup is so free, so cheap that your site doesn't really offer a lot on top of it. And so that never went particularly far. It had some success, like some people were using it. It had activity, events were getting scheduled. I did get a lot of experience in event marketing around the hiking events. I did get some experience in SEO, scalability, all those things. So this was maybe the hiking website, and it's still live now. It's comehike.com. I don't really update it much, but it's a relic. And it kind of still makes me like $50 a month or so, but it's essentially dead. It was my first lukewarm success, I would say. And at one point it had growth, but at one point the growth stopped, and I don't want to get too much into the technicals of it. I did get my footing under me in building that. That was my feeling. Like I started feeling confident after a whole lot of other companies I started and all those things, and I networked with a whole bunch of people, and it's been years, right, since that philosophy project during college and working on my stuff during, as I was working in companies, and after that the B2B search software and the hiking. So it was years in the making, and this was my first sort of lukewarm success. And it was harder then, I guess, than now. Now things are easier, but I don't want to use that as an excuse. So that happened. And then one thing that I really realized, I had this epiphany that if only somebody had coached me, if only I had a mentor, then I could have avoided, oh my God, so many mistakes, that the next thing I wanted to build was like something for me, but an earlier version of me. So I made a mobile app, and at that time, mobile apps were getting popular. It was like 2011, 2012. And I was thinking, well, I'll make a mobile app for entrepreneurs and I'll help them, kind of like a coaching app. And that app actually succeeded. That app did well. And I started giving people advice, and people used it for their business planning, and I coached people through the apps. I didn't coach them like you see a lot of people offering coaching packages, but I would answer questions and I would communicate with people on somewhat of a regular basis. And it gave me a lot of experience, not just with my businesses, but in addition to my businesses, with other people's businesses. And if you go back to that app, I've helped over 1,000 people. I think now it's almost silly to say, and I don't say it anymore. I just say like over 1,000 people. But really, I've coached now over between 2,000 and 3,000 people, some in limited capacity, obviously. Like some, I just advise them through the app. But many of them, definitely I think over 1,000, has been over Skype coaching since then. But it's been years. So, but those are the numbers. And it's crazy how many people I've helped. And some people have gone on to have amazing businesses. Many of them I'm still friends with. And so that coaching aspect, that stayed. And that app actually, because I was kind of like, it wasn't just an app, right? For every other app, it's just an app. My app was more interactive. I was a human behind it. And because of that, that app quickly really rose to the ranks of the app stores. And through my extra support and extra care and extra work, became one of the top business apps on Android at one point, and it's still, if you search Android for the word business, it's still one of the top apps that comes up, even though I don't really maintain it anymore, and I've sort of moved on. But that was really the beginning of everything else that I did that was successful. And then in the next video, I'm going to sort of talk you through, explain to you what happened after that, how I grew and built my business on top of that app.